Typically hit the ball decent.
Good.
Like anyone, I want to be a little bit more consistent.
Sure. All right, so just go ahead and start getting loose, and I'm going to ask a bunch of questions.
Sure, yeah.
What flight do you like to hit if you have the option to either one?
Typically like just a little cut.
Okay. If you have to hit it flat, are you good with that? High or low? I mean, you hit it pretty high.
I've typically always been a really high ball player.
Right.
So I think
Can you flatten it if you need to?
Yeah,
Okay.
but then when I flight it, it's a lot of people's high ball.
I see what you mean.
So like I don't have that low riser.
Okay.
If I could add that to the game, that would be pretty cool.
Okay. Do you play any other sports?
Hockey,
Yeah.
basketball, football.
Attaboy. A lot of hockey players can send it.
Yeah, a lot of my boys hit it far.
So where I'm going to start with you, and what you'll notice is how that club gets a bit in and that right arm's quite bent at the start.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of like a right arm shrug, and I know this well because this is my thing. So gets retracted and behind you a little bit. So then by the time you finish the turn, your right arm is so far behind you that you kind of have to get it back out in front of you on the way down. And that's going to cause, that's why some days you hit it probably great and sometimes you're like, it's not quite a scratch golfer. Right. So you can see how your arms are so far trapped behind you there, or that right one is.
Right.
That on the way down, that's where you're going to have to try to make space somewhere, and it's beautiful through the ball. It's just the way you're doing it's making it a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
So what we need to do with you is get you to where you feel like this is more to the target. So you give yourself more room and the arms are more here and my right hand's really away from my head.
Okay.
Versus back over here.
Right.
So then from there, you'll have way more room for your arms to get back down on your torso on the way through, and it should give you a lot more options to flight it.
Okay.
And it'll be much easier to flatten it. So let's go get to work. So I want you to feel like both arms are long and you're kind of reaching out towards where I would be.
Okay.
So right arm stays long, torso turn. You see how much more turned you are already?
Yeah.
Because you don't have a choice, right? Because if I take away this lever, like, so this feels like I'm making a backswing, but this isn't doing much.
Okay.
If I keep them long and extended there, then this has to do a whole lot more, right?
Yeah.
So this will turn more, hands will be wider. So it's not going to shorten it, but it's just going to make it wider and more away from you.
Okay.
If I was going to just toss this to you, right? Obviously I wouldn't want to do it that way.
Right.
So if I just gave it a little momentum there, that's kind of what we're looking for, right?
Okay.
So from the beginning, just kind of give it a little bit of a feel of, it's almost a toss. So I'll use my torso, keep my arms long to toss it to you.
Okay.
And then from there, the momentum of it will swing you to the top and you can just keep going.
Cool.
And what you'll notice too, probably, as time goes on, is you'll start to see these more kind of divots.
Okay.
Where you'll be down on it, but it's more of like kind of the same depth all the way through and kind of more picky feeling versus like into the ground and out of the ground, right? Because the more steep this gets, the more it's going to be in the ground.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And this is how you'll be able to hit like nice flighted wedges, is keeping it really wide over here and really wide over here. And you'll be able to take the loft off of it without hitting so much down on it, because that's what makes it go that way.
Interesting, okay.
The guys that play really good in the wind are able to take the loft off the club without getting really steep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that too. Like, if you put it in the back of your sands, you are hitting so down on it.
And you can get, like, you can launch it low that way, but then it just stands up.
Yeah.
Think that'll take out a couple fat shots a day?
I think so.
See what I mean?
It feels like a way bigger stretch. Way bigger stretch. So I feel it kind of in my back lat and right in. Like, I feel like I'm turning more than I ever have.
You can either think like you want chest to me, or you can think like back to the target, but make sure you get that part, because if you don't, then you'll get the movement from the right arm retracting.
Right, okay.
Right? So you got to almost like, you create the space for the arms, then they can get there.
Okay.
Yeah. Beauty. And these contacts will probably feel a bit shallower.
They definitely are.
Yeah. I would say you might notice with the irons that it's a touch more drawy.
Right.
Just because you're not so down and left on it.
Okay.
So I don't think that's a bad thing, but you'll probably just notice your stock shot may be a touch more falling left than falling to the right.
Something I'm kind of curious in is when you're making a swing change, how long does it take you to kind of get the new swing ingrained, and how do you stay away from kind of old bad habits?
In terms of time, there's no way to really know. Like, I wish I could tell you like 6 weeks from now you're going to be, but obviously the more, every rep you do, you're getting better. So that doesn't mean you're going to hit the best shot you've ever hit in your life, but the movement's getting better. The more you can just work through understanding, I'm going to hit some bad shots, I'm going to do some stuff I don't like, X, Y, and Z. But if I just keep focusing on the same things over and over again, I'll get better. Where people get in trouble is like, say we've had this little session here where you're like, man, this is better, I like this, we're on a good track. And then you go play a few holes and you hit a few you don't like, and then you come back, right arm's narrow, not turning as much, but you're like, yeah, but this just feels more comfortable. I understand that. But if you want to get better than you are now, let's go through a month or two of not feeling quite great in your backswing. And then once you get to a point where that's familiar, your good that used to be will now be up here.
Right.
Right? So if you To answer your question on why people go back, it's a lot because when they're doing things that are comfortable, if it doesn't go great, they can still kind of deal with it. If they're uncomfortable and it's not going well, they're like, well, this doesn't feel good. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not hitting the ball well. Let me know what I know how to do.
Right.
Like, go back to know what I know how to do.
Yeah.
But then they forget that the reason they changed it in the first place is because what they were doing wasn't giving them what they wanted, right?
No, that makes total sense.
It's basically just why people struggle with anything. It's just comfort.
Cool. I like that. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So like I say, wide 3/4 to wide 3/4 on both sides, cut it off, and it should be kind of, see a mid-flight draw in your head. That's nice there. What's the height of that compared to your normal wedge?
Oh, that's really low.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's nice. That's what you want to see. That's a back pin killer right there.
I feel like all my power, I want to bend that in just to get speed.
On the way down?
Yeah.
It'll do it on the way down. But you don't have to try to, it will. How's it feel on the face?
Weak. I haven't hit many that I'm like, oh, that felt good.
Okay. Okay, so swing it up there for me. Right, now on the exit, I need you more out towards me. There you go, more drawy. How's that?
That was better contact.
There
for
you
sure.
go, yeah. You were just getting it left too quick.
Okay.
So stay wide and extended and let it get left later. You know what I mean? There you go. You'll end up left because you're turning.
Okay.
Got pretty little push draw, just aimed over there. A little different on the exit?
Way different.
Yeah. Like just a little less cutoff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty.
That probably felt the best yet.
Yeah, I like that flight. And remember too, since you're push drawing it, you don't need to aim right.
Right.
Because it's going to start a little right and come back.
Okay.
So if you aim more right, you'll hit a nice one and be like, oh, I blocked it. When
Yeah.
it's just start over.
I gotcha. And ball position, like middle?
Mid back for this shot. Nice.
Way better.
Love that little fall.
That's nice.
Yeah, you really don't want to ever see wedges unless it's like a specialty shot.
Right.
Like you got some kind of stupid right pin or something. But if your stock wedges are high with a fade, that's not a great sign.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing with your aim that you need to keep in mind is that your tendency is to be a hair right.
Yeah.
So if you start to get right, you're going to want to kind of pull it back this way a little bit because you know the target's over here.
Yeah.
So just get kind of used to the target being back kind of in my sight picture a little more to the right, and then I can kind of swing it over there and start it there.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great move. I'll show you something cool here too that'll help you with the alignment stuff. Go ahead and grab a ball. So go ahead and set up to it. So look at that target for me. Right, so you see how when you look at the target, you kind of go over your left shoulder?
Okay.
Right, so get set up again. I'm gonna put my hand on this button.
Okay.
So you can roll on me, but you can't move it. Where's the target now? You're more out to the right, aren't you?
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you look at the target, make sure you don't level your eyes and go this way, because then when you get back down in posture, it's over here.
Right,
You see what I'm saying? So make sure you keep your chin and your neck on tilt. There you go. There you go. Now you can hit that little draw, no problem.
First one I've missed left.
Right. That's just because you weren't aimed to the right.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's beautiful. How's that flight?
That's the best tempo I've had too, I think.
Yep. And what will surprise you with this is these are going to spin like crazy.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've been at it all morning, working through the full swing, working on the wedges. The new move feels awesome. We're gonna take a break and we'll come right back.
So if the thought in your head is that your arms are going over this stick as my chest turns, that's about as wide and stretched out as you can get.
Yeah.
Right? So kind of come get set up in there and feel like the club head's going over that. The only reason it goes around is because you're turning. How much room is that?
Yeah, tons.
Tons, right? Yep, out and long, there you go. Like that feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that aid too, just so I can see it
Sure.
go back, right?
Right. Yeah, you can just kind of think the club never doesn't go over that.
Right.
And then as that turns, it will. But the feel is always going to be like you see like Ben on the thing, you'll be crazy long-armed and stretch out.
Wow.
Good rep, dude.
Feels so good.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of room, right?
Way wider.
Sure.
And I think I just need to turn more to get the club set instead of taking it.
Cool, exactly, yeah. And if you're going kind of like stiff wrist, just take the triangle there,
Yeah.
you won't have much choice but to use your pivot because then there's not really anywhere to get the movement.
Right.
Yep. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who looks like a better golfer?
Yeah, this guy.
Right.
What a difference.
Right. And that feels like.
And it feels like I'm stretching like way
It probably
outside.
feels like it would look stupid, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You can do as much of that as you like. You can max that out, and it's not going to be too much.
No kidding.
Right. That's absolute money.
So cool.
Like there is no book on golf swing, but that's there. Like there's absolutely nothing there that I would say is going to cause you any trouble.
I love that.
Yeah. There, difficult.
Yeah.
This, beautiful.
Crazy.
Right. Next couple balls, and this is something like it's kind of just a little trial thing. It's not changing your swing or any of that.
Yeah.
The next couple get about 1 inch narrower with each foot.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, like we're not playing golf,
Okay.
but if you were to stand there and I was to say I'm about to do a test for you on how high your vertical jump could be, how wide would you get your feet?
Probably a little bit wider.
Just about right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I want you.
Okay.
Wherever you feel like you would jump from,
Okay.
is that's a pretty good way to kind of figure it out. So obviously, if I get too wide, I couldn't do a lot.
Right.
And then from here, you're not going to feel like you could do that much either.
Yeah.
So always just get in there to a place where you feel like from here, I could kind of go any direction I wanted.
Okay.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, especially with bigger guys, like especially when I first started playing golf, people teach, okay, like you're a big base guy, you got to have really wide stance.
Yeah.
But really, you only want the stance to support this. It's not the shoulder width. So if you try to get kind of shoulder width a lot of the time, it'll impede rotation.
Okay.
Good rep. What's the biggest difference to you from this? Just the first part?
Yeah, the first part for sure. I think sometimes when I'm ball striking my best is that I'm purposely trying to hit it over my immediate target. And I think when I'm setting up, I see my immediate target. And by the time I come back over it, I'm kind of like, oh, where is it?
Yeah, exactly.
So now I'm really just focusing on that
Yeah.
takeaway.
Yep.
So I think that's why my dispersion isn't as consistent.
Yeah. That's beautiful. How did that feel?
Oh, so much better. I brought my immediate target a lot closer to me.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, try to get it as close as you can.
Yeah, I got it just in front of my divot pattern.
There you go.
And that helped me more than the 30-footer.
That last shot I saw you hit may be the best shot I've ever seen you hit. So is that.
That one felt better.
I'm in trouble, right, bro?
You're fucked. You are fucked, my friend. I'm gonna be like Scheffler. So you guys want like 9 aside? Or... I'm hitting it incredibly consistent. Like my miss, I told you earlier, used to be like kind of that big chunk. And I'm maybe chunk 1 out of 20 wedges now. My dispersion's getting good. I find now if I miss, I'm hitting it thin, but it stays on that line and it goes a lot further. So that's really the only thing that I'm thinking of is just getting to the top, that I'm literally thinking nothing from the time I get here through impact. Will says I'm thinking about my takeaway.
Right.
I see Bryson. You know, Bryson's one of those guys that seems so wide and through the ball.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we're working on here.
Yeah, yeah. So that's not a bad feel for you either. And one thing I've heard him talk about when he talks about his swing, when people interview him and things like that, is in his takeaway, he says a thing about no restriction. And that's basically just him allowing all that to move without trying to change angles or do anything with the club. It's really just a free throw. So there's not really much to think about in terms of, do I hinge it? Do I need to get this going? Do I need to get it behind me more? Do my arms go low? Do they go high? If I'm just throwing this thing away with rotation, there we are.
How can people do that at home?
Just toss clubs is a great way to do it. So
Carpet probably, maybe not hardwood.
yeah. So, well, I would do this outside. I'll put it that way, so don't get in any trouble. But so basically, you can just get set up to it and just get used to from there. Okay, money, right? So if I were to try to hinge it and pick it up, I couldn't throw it. Or if I went in this way, I'm going to throw it over here. So just being able to take the club kind of opposite target line and toss it that way, my arms are going to be long. I'm going to have to have pivoted some because obviously I'm not going to throw it that way. Right. So for you, that's great for your trail arm because you're not going to throw it this way.
Yeah. And this is something that might like cure the over the top.
It'll definitely help the start of it because the genesis of a lot of over the top is the fact that the club gets in too quick. And once it gets in, it works up and then this way. So being able to have people that can kind of throw the club over here is going to give them more of that room and space to get down inside it and swing more end out.
So cool. Love that.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
What, are you locking him in here?
Locking them in.
Well, it's pretty good, isn't he?
Oh, so good.
He better be.
Amazing.
He's not good at arm shit, too.
No, he's amazing. So we're working on a little 50-yard kind of, it's not quite a chip shot, it's a pitch shot. How would you call this?
Just a flighted wedge shot.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of finesse wedge.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's only going 50 yards and I was having troubles just really chunking them nonstop. So what Wills was kind of telling me is kind of just narrow my stance a little bit. I'm still staying connected in that triangle on the way back through the ball, except now I'm kind of more release and more like turning my right hand over. I feel like I'm really drawing it.
Yep.
And so far that's helped me kind of eliminate some of those chunks. So this is definitely a new shot for me.
Yeah. So probably need a little more outfeel, a little more long right arm.
Okay.
There.
Way better.
That's really crispy.
Yeah, okay.
I'd say from what I've seen on a few of these,
Yeah.
when you start to get that little heavy one, it looks like you try to get the handle left too quick.
Okay.
So it'll kind of start to go this way and dump out a little bit.
Right.
So if you can feel kind of out to the right long and letting it turn over, you should get that really really clippy, not so steep of a divot one, and it'll take the heavy one out as well.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Oof.
Ah, that's so sick.
I like that a lot.